Hello and welcome to Mind Behind the Mouth, the place where today we are going to be taking an in-depth dive into The Stand. Now, I'm assuming if you've come here, you've already watched our journey to the Dark Tower and starting with The Stand and our final thoughts on it. And if you did, you wanted more in-depth thoughts of our kind of thought process, or like more in if you wanted more of an insight into some of our thoughts during the reading and our 200-page checkups throughout the book, then this is the video for you, because we are going to go ahead and be giving you video updates every 200 pages in this book, all the way up to page 1000. And then we have our final thoughts, of course, over everything in the other video. But this one is going to go ahead and be a detailed packing of all of our thoughts. So enjoy.
Okay, so 200 pages in, sun's right in my eyes. This was maybe not the best place to set it up, especially because I suck with sun, but we're here. So 200 pages in, we are phenomenally loving this book. Now, I unfortunately had to stop 200 pages in, and it was right in the middle of Nick's chapter, who I think is my favorite character so far. Watching him overcome like all of these adversities, getting his goddamn teeth kicked in, and knowing he's not going to be able to fix it is insane. Watching the whole town shut down in this like military shutdown is so terrifying. And just the way this whole outbreak is happening is so plausible that it's so scary. But oh my god, yeah, I think he's my favorite so far. I really love watching kind of like the development with Fran, and kind of like seeing both aspects of like the controlling mother and the carefreeing childness of the father. And it's really fun watching both those aspects come out, especially since she doesn't like her mom at all. Oh man, this is phenomenal. It's really hard to put down. So far, I love the way it's doing the slow build of, well, rapid build of the pandemic, and it just getting out of control, and I'm really excited to see where this goes next. Yeah, this is easily a good page turner, and I think Nick is my favorite. And I'm really curious also to see what's going to happen with Red. 100% forgetting his name, Hap's friend. Just, oh my god, just getting attached to people and then immediately just losing them is so crazy, and I'm really curious as to where this book is going to go next, and I'm just so excited. We're keeping this short so I can get back to Nick's chapter and how he's going to finish dealing with this small town problem. More further update, as I just kind of put all my camera stuff away and went back to reading. I think that Nick's dreams are actually his shine ability to like premonate the future. Premonate? Have premonitions of the future. So I think when he's like seeing this cornfield and hold on, the girls are going by in their Jeep. So when he's like seeing this cornfield, and he feels like he's looking for something, he doesn't know what it is yet, but he's gonna be looking for something later in this book, and it's gonna be something like very, very important. And he has someone behind him chasing, Randall Flagg, the man in black, of course. I think that he's basically seeing a moment in the future, and so I think that's what his shine ability is. That's just a guess right now. I think his shine is dreaming the future. Quick update.
So I'm 200 pages in, and I like to start off by saying, fuck Carla. I don't like her at all. When Fran's dad slapped her, I don't support spousal abuse. But you know what? I was right behind him on that, because she was just acting out of pocket. She deserved that slap, honestly. Nick, you know, one thing I've been thinking about is Nick is deaf and mute, and he doesn't know sign language. So is he always going to be able to carry a pen and paper, you know, in his story? And if he's not, how is he going to communicate with other characters? And I do think that there is a little bit of significance when he like got sworn in as deputy, you know, because he also took the holster and the gun, and he was very dedicated to his role with watching over like the prisoners, you know. So I'm excited to see what happens with his story. And Stu, I love Stu. I thought it was so funny when he pretended to be sick and then that scientist guy just booked it out of the room. I actually laughed out loud on that one. That was great. I hope though that he's not going to get trapped in that facility, because some of the staff members are already getting sick. So I hope he's able to, you know, make it out. And speaking of trapped, that guy in the prison system, he's on death row, or you know, he's about to be, maybe, I don't know, I haven't gotten that far yet, but I am excited to see what happens with the pandemic in the prison system, because some of the inmates are going to get trapped in their cells. Some of the correctional officers are already getting sick, so I'm just gonna see what happens with that whole aspect. And Larry, I don't like Larry's chapters. I think they're a drag, and I think that Larry's just weird. Looking up the seam of his mom's dress, ew, Larry, come on now. And Starkey, when he saw that corpse and he wanted to touch her boob to see if it was hard or soft, like, my God, can us women just die and be left alone? Jesus. Randall, I didn't realize there's gonna be like magic, in this book. So I'm excited to see what happens, with his storyline. He's a terrible individual, but very intriguing to read nonetheless. And I'm really trying hard not to get attached to characters, especially Fran and her dad and Stu, because Stephen King is not sparing anybody. Like, there's kids that, are getting sick and they're gonna die. Like that family that was in the car that came in contact with that police officer that was infected. And I mean, even in the beginning with the man that escaped with his wife and, their young daughter, and they were dead. Like, that broke my heart. I was like, I don't even know if I want to read this book. My God, I'm happy I did not read it during COVID, because ooh-wee. But overall, I'm really excited. I love this book. It's great. And I will check in after the next 200 pages, and I hope that within those 200 pages Carla dies.
All right, so page 400, we've finally made it. We are chugging along quite nicely. There it is. Boom. Look at that. This fucking book is awesome. All right, I love this book. Watching the collapse of society was insane. It was awful. Just the minor descriptions of like random people passing after the flu caught on. The one of the 5-year-old kind of really fucked me up. But what are you going to do when you have kids? The kid stuff really gets you. I will say, after... Okay, so Nick's still my favorite by far. Loving his journey, and I think I am very solidified in thinking that his dreams are premonitions of the future. And the fact that he was able to communicate with both the Randall Flagg and, I forgot her name, this oldest woman in her area, kind of really awesome. Really exciting there. Can't wait to see how that further develops, because he's going to go ahead and head out there and maybe start building a community with her, and that seems pretty legit. Fran's story has been really, really fun. I've been loving watching her development with Harold, who is, I thought he was going to go off on his own, and now they're actually hanging out together. That's pretty neat. It's kind of interesting watching him grow to be a little bit better. Even it's been small bits, but he has been kind of like even improving in character from her thoughts of his character. Now, Lloyd's story has been quite interesting, and watching him meet the Man in Black in prison with the kind of starving rabbit analogy and story was actually kind of interesting to see that develop. And then you see immediately how this whittled man is going to be a perfect kind of right-hand man for the Man in Black, as someone who will remain loyal forever. Like, you could just read it on his face. He will now do anything for the Man in Black. I guarantee we're going to start seeing him. I hope he lives past this book, because I bet if we see more of Randall Flagg, we might see more of Lloyd, and it'd be really fun to kind of like see his origin point, and then maybe see he's like some badass like right-handed bruiser later on or some shit. Which also leads me into Trash Can. It was a bit of a jump around chapter that was kind of hard for me to get through initially, because like the amount that he was just randomly jumping around was kind of like just really incoherent and hard to kind of stick with. But I guarantee he is also going to join up with the Man in Black, or the Man in Black will join up with him and add his explosive character into the group as well. Now I'm going to say something that's a little crazy. I don't like Larry Underwood. Now, I think he is a scumbag, a selfish piece of shit. That might be a little harsh. All right, that he is selfish. He is a scumbag, and he does just look out for himself. And he is a taker. His mother was right, but there is something else. And the main reason I don't like him is because of his mother, not because of her. But in the first 200, I forgot to really mention it. He kind of like checks out her legs and like the hem of her skirt, and like he checks her out. And it's described that he checks her out, which is fucking disgusting. But it was a very Freudian fucking, little bit of chapter. I just didn't. It made me feel gross reading it, for sure. And then, in the next 200, he's like getting ready to hook up with Rita, and he's looking at her breasts and thinking of his mother's breasts. And he's like, oh, yes, it's normal to think, back to when you've, peeped on your mom or seen your mom, and when you see a naked woman's body. It's like, what the fuck? Why are you thinking of your mom's breast when looking at another woman's breasts? Like, it was like so gross. And I was just like, dude, Larry Underwood wants to fuck his mom. Like, this is so gross, man. Thank God she died, because I did not want to have to read him trying to hook up with his mom. Yeah, don't like Larry Underwood. I really don't. And I am okay when I finish his chapters. But my favorite still yet remaining is Nick, who again, I had to take a break in his chapter to do this. It's like a running theme now where I have to put down Nick's chapter when I don't want to, because he just saw somebody sit up in the road. Like, I want to keep reading this. I am loving this book. I can't really wait to see where this goes. And it looks like the kind of like building of groups and societies. And Stu. Oh, I almost forgot to mention Stu. Loving Stu's development. He's been kind of fun to be silently kind of like getting to know other people and watching him progress from his captivity to freedom. But then at that last chapter we just read, where he says he is starting to feel like he wants Fran, kind of weird, because I don't know his age, but for me, like, I thought he was in his 50s. I could be wrong there, and like, but I don't think it's ever been established, and I thought he was like a middle-aged man, and she's like 22, so that's kind of weird, but we'll see how this goes. Really enjoying this so far, and I can't wait to see how this further progresses. All right, next update.
So pages 200 to 400 was really addicting. I did not want to put the book down. I was a little sad when Fran's dad did die. I was hoping that we'd have a little bit more of a story with him, but one thing that did cross my mind when he did die was Fran is a young woman by herself. She's very pretty. Society and everyone that she has known has died. So as a woman in that situation, when you do have society, there's a sense of safety, lawfulness, structure, and without that, anything goes. And you don't want to be a woman traveling by yourself, because that's, very dangerous, but you have to, learn to trust people, figure out who's trustworthy and who's not, and that's a very sticky situation to be in. So I'm actually really happy that Harold did enter the picture. I didn't like Harold at first. I thought he was kind of a greaseball, to be honest. But I do like Fran and Harold's dynamic. And I'm very excited to see how things, go forward with Stu, Fran, and Harold, especially since Stu assured Harold that he did not, want to take Fran from him, that, Fran was his, to pursue. And, Stu didn't want anything to do with her. And then all of a sudden at the end of the chapter, Stu decides that he actually does like Fran. A little weird, because Stu's like at least 20 years older than Fran. He's honestly old enough to be her dad. But I'm still excited to see how that plays out. And I'm really happy that Stu did get out of that institution. That made me very happy. One thing I was a little bit disappointed in was the storyline with Lloyd. Stephen King mostly just focused on the fact that Lloyd was hungry. He was trying to unscrew a bolt from the bed, and he was trying to eat somebody's leg. Well, he did eat somebody's leg. Not very interesting, unfortunately. Larry. I didn't like Larry. I had hoped that when Rita followed him in the tunnel and they were traveling together, that maybe he would redeem himself and just be a better human being. But when Rita died, he wasn't concerned that, you know, his traveling companion, a fellow human being, had just died in the night and he didn't know about it. There was like no remorse, no sadness. He was relieved. The only really strong feeling that he had was a sense of disgust that, not that she died, but that he was, you know, going back in the tent to have sex with her and she was dead. And that was what he focused on the most. So I definitely don't like Larry. I don't really like his chapters. I mean, they are interesting to read because, you know, it's always interesting to kind of read about the bad guy. Speaking of which, Randall Flagg is entering the picture a little bit more, like through people's dreams. And I do think it's interesting how, like, I don't really know what his powers are or what he does. So, like, I don't even know if he is aware that he's in people's dreams or if he's doing that intentionally. I know that he knows about some of them. I think maybe he knows about Nick because he's saying, like, they're on their way. So I really am excited to see how that plays out because it is a little bit confusing right now. And that old lady, I don't remember her name. She was in one of Nick's dreams. At least I think it was him. So I really want to see a little bit more about her. I'm hoping there's a little bit more about her. I did like those individual paragraphs about, you know, the rest of the world and just random people throughout the world, how they're surviving and what they're doing. Although that chapter or that little paragraph with the 5-year-old girl, that had me fucked up. I think I took like a 2-day break from that book. It was just emotionally disturbing for me. I had to read something happy after that. But overall, I really liked it, and I'm excited for pages 400 to 600.
Okay, wow. 600 pages in, and yeah, this book is insane ride. Right off the bat, the fuck. The moment I stopped has got to be one of the worst things. I didn't want this. Let's go ahead and give you a little reenactment of what just happened 30 seconds ago. Yeah, I didn't like that. What just happened? I kind of had a plan of what I was going to be talking about, and then I read that, and trash cans chapters are definitely something. Okay, so let's start back at the beginning. Right after I finished the last update, page 400, where I had to stop during a Nick chapter, as soon as I got done with the update, got to keep reading, and I met good old Tom as soon as, I was done recording and picked up the book again. And wow, I love Tom. Tom's just that fun, lovable goof, dude. He's such a great character to add to this dreary world. And then it continues going. The chick Nick hooked up with, and then completely just. At first, I was like, I can't believe they're hooking up, and then I can't believe she's going this fucking crazy, and was immediately like just a awful person, like to just be like such a nuisance and enjoying the nuisance. Like, I did not like her, and I was glad that she was immediately gone. Although I feel like she's probably going to end up popping back up, attached to another character that will end up meeting some other point in this book. Yeah, it was really great just kind of seeing him take Tom under his wing, kind of really start to care for him, and just that the lookout that the guy definitely needed. I think that was really cool. And Nick is such a wholesome character, and I love watching this band grow as like he's making his way down to Abigail, which they end up meeting another guy in the truck, and then it jumps over to Larry, and I thought this was going to be another fun Larry chapter where I wasn't having the most fun time with Larry's chapters. And then this one surprised me. I really, really enjoyed this Larry chapter. I loved watching him like kind of do the kind of detective thing, and how I was waiting for the herald signs to start kind of like go ahead and start like popping into another character story, and here we go. It happened with Larry Underwood. I was hoping it happened with a different one, but it popped up with Larry, and I love the idea that he built of who I said. Oh, no, I said Larry. Okay. I love the idea of like the image he built up of Harold was so funny. How he thinks that he's like, this amazing do-it-all guy who can think on the spot and actually get everything done. And he's like in his 30s and a pretty well-to guy. And it's just the 16-year-old who is absolutely intelligent, book smart, but emotionally completely fucked. Like such a fun kind of mischaracterization of him, and he's like already trying to he's like, oh, I really respect this guy. This dude's a really badass, and nah. And then meeting up with the two that was stalking him in his sleep, and his awakeness was crazy. That kid is a fucking sociopath. Like he is. Or straight psychopath. It maybe both. I don't know. But I would be nervous as hell to have that kid around me when I was awake, let alone asleep. I fucking A, man. That kid is crazy, and he gets delighted in the prospect of killing somebody. I don't know how redeemable this kid is. This is probably going to be an issue for the group later on. The woman seems okay, I guess. We're going to see how this little group kind of starts to shake out. Excited to pick back up with Larry and see them make it down to Abigail. I will say the kid with the when he picked up the guitar and started playing that was pretty cool. So maybe he is slightly redeemable. I don't know. And I was starting to have a really good time with these 200 pages. I was loving this. Maybe I could even stand this up while I'm talking about it. Stand this up? What's up? I was loving this book so much, and these 200 pages, and having such a fun time. Especially when it jumped over to Abigail, and we were going along with her, and we were learning more about her past as a child, and then like the just her having to go down to the neighbor's house was such a mission and a journey in itself. And then the weasels, holy shit, that was terrifying as fuck, man. Did not expect that. That was really crazy. And then I didn't expect her to be a badass and fend them off. She says, y'all get this from my guess, you fucks. That was so good. So that was really fun watching her just fucking say hell no to the 100+ weasels surrounding her and just bust them up. And then it was so nice to finally see the group, which had grown quite a bit, just on their way to Abigail, and Nick come up, and it's just like to see the kind of like everything starting to get set up, and Nick kind of becoming this facto silent leader. It is so good because it's like you could tell he's so wise and so level-headed, and also doesn't want a position of power. And I think that is like key into when you have a position of power. Those who don't want the power tend to do really good with it. It's those who strive for power that tend to just be solely focused on using the power and keeping the power once they have the power. Whereas those that tend to not even want it, just try to do the best that they can. And having it usually just is like a side effect. So I really love watching him come together and actually like slowly grow to be like a very capable leader alongside Abigail. Not somebody who is like her second lieutenant like Lloyd with Flag, but more so that somebody is a leader with Abigail. And when she said she knew she wasn't like, there was a lot to come before the end was here and she wouldn't see the end of it. And I was like, dude, oh, fuck. I just love, the development of these characters and getting to know them a bit better. I was still having a really, really good time here, and then it jumped over to Fran and Stu's group, and I was having a good time again. I was like, oh, yes, look at this, like, slow development. We got 2 more characters on their team. You're really seeing the Fran-Stu development, which still weird with a 30-year age gap, I believe. It's 30 years because I think he's in his 50s, and even if he's only in his 40s, it's still like a 25-year age gap. Like, it's still rough. It's like, I don't know. I guess it doesn't It's not the biggest issue, but it's still like kind of cringe. Not cringe, but like kind of a little weird. But it's not as weird as Harold. Harold is becoming a gross person. Like, and I saw it as soon as he had the pistols crisscrossed on his hips, like Johnny Ringo. And the fact that they mentioned it was like Johnny Ringo is like, so he's already going to be set up to be just a gross person, obviously. It's weird that he just thinks he's entitled to whatever. I didn't like that. Like, he thinks he's just entitled to Fran because he was knowing her first. Like, oh God, it's just so stupid. I hate him. And like, he even says she has to get on board with the fact that she's property. Like, no, dude. Fuck off, man. You can't even shoot a gun when somebody's aiming a gun at you. You're nothing either, dude. When they're cruising down the road, and then they hit the roadblock, and this was gross. This really, I was having fun time. Oh, here, I'll do it. So it's like this. I was having fun time, and then immediately I was no longer having a good time. This was like a hard time, good time killer. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point. It was gross to read. Like, the fight happened, that was brutal. The innocents dying, brutal. Harold being a coward, dropping the gun. Like, I mean, Stu, badass immediately. And then it started describing like what happened to the women over the course of days with these guys. That was really, really, really hard to read. That was absolutely despicable. I even had to take a break when it mentioned the girl who was no more older than 12. I had to put the book down. That was a really tough one. I didn't like that at all. And then Stu and Fran getting their kind of togetherness. So that was nice for them. But then it jumped to the Harold stalking them from the bush. And it kind of, when it went to the point of him reading the diary, was fucking disgusting. And then him putting it back, and he's like, if she wakes up, I'll just kill her now and leave. I was like, dude is a fucking incel to the max. Like, what a little fucking bitch. I hate this guy. He is just a worthless worm. And I can't wait until he dies in this book. Trash Can. Trash Can was an interesting one to go ahead and start reading as it was going back. And it was fun to watch him start trying to make his way to Las Vegas and whatnot, and just the prospect of getting to know more about what Randall Flagg is doing, and with the even just like the little mentions of like he's in people's dreams, he's slowly getting more powerful, and it's like this ominous kind of like threat that's off in the distance that you're slowly hearing about being worse. Like, people are like dreaming about crucifixions of people who are like even just slightly upset him, or just like are not like agreeing with him, or won't go with his status quo. Crucifixions out in the desert. It's like just, ooh, I can't wait to see what he's got going on over there. Very excited for that. But then, it started going into Trash Can's history and what was going on, and then the kid, and getting in the car, and the kids started becoming more and more unhinged and unstable. And then there was the hotel. That was pretty fucking gross. I don't want to keep reading. Like, I know when I pick up this book, it's just going to be more gross sexual stuff that's happening right now, and I'm not looking forward to it. But I'm excited to get past it, and hopefully that this chapter will be done soon. I can start reading more on Nick, Stu, and Fran, and yeah, back to Abigail. I'm ready to get back to Abigail. Like, this is rough. But so far, insane, good ride. I'm glad I'm halfway here now. We finally made it like a little bit over the halfway point. So let's keep crushing, keep cruising, and hopefully soon we're going to start seeing some more developments. Maybe more of these people start adding to the party. And I can't wait till we get to Colorado. So see you in the next 200.
So pages 400 through 600 was really good. A very heavy read in my opinion. There was a lot of good stuff that happened, but there was also a lot of, emotional situations and sad situations. Let's start with the good. I am really happy that Stu and Fran are together. I think it's really awesome that he was pretty accepting that she was pregnant. However, speaking of which, she is entering her second trimester now, so she's about 4 months pregnant. So she should be showing pretty soon, especially since she is smaller. And I remember early on in the book, they had said that babies were either going to be immune when they were born or they were going to die shortly after birth. So I really hope that Fran's baby is immune, especially since Fran is immune. The father was not immune, but hopefully, Fran will be enough to have that baby be immune. And I hope that is something that we do get to see, and I hope that we don't get to like the end of the book and Fran is still like 9 months pregnant and hasn't had the baby yet. Harold is unhinged. He is a psychopath. When he stole her diary and then if she woke up, he was like, I'll just kill her. I was just like, man. And then he was acting like everything was totally okay the next day, acting happy-go-lucky. That's sus. That man has a plan. I don't know what it is yet, but he's got something up his sleeve. So I hope that he, you know what, honestly at this point, I'd be okay if he died or I don't even want him to leave the group because I feel like if he left the group, he'd be scheming and something bad would then happen to someone in the group, probably Fran or Stu. So I honestly just hope he dies at this point somehow, some way. I'm happy that we did get to see a lot more about Mother Abigail, but her chapter was kind of one of the heavier chapters or viewpoints in my opinion because there was a lot of good. But there's also a lot of just heavy reading, like for instance, how she she had 3 husbands and they all died, and she outlived her children, her great-grandchildren, her great-great-grandchildren, and she's one of the oldest living women on earth. And how when she was younger, her mother got like wrapped up in a curtain and beat, and her father had like his eyes gouged out because he got hit in the head with a bottle and was beat. It wasn't very clear if that's how they died or not, but either way that situation was really sad. It's really hard to imagine as a society like someone's skin color would warrant them to be treated so terribly, but that was way back decades ago, so I guess that was normal, but it was still pretty sad. And then how I think it's really weird how she was like thinking of corn during sex and like the smell being like sweet like corn. I just thought that was really weird, and I really did like Mother Abigail until that point, and it's just I do like her, but that was just a little much. Again, Stephen King with his weird writing. I do think it's interesting how I had said that Fran, since she's beautiful and young, she's gonna have to be very careful with her choices because women are not safe in that type of environment where society has collapsed. So when the part came where those 4 men and those 8 women, those 4 men had decided that they wanted to try and snatch Fran by setting up that ambush, I do think it's really cool how some of the women decided to fight back and then they did defeat those men. That was really awesome, but it was still very sad. Like there's stories of what was happening to them, and then that 12-year-old girl that ended up killing herself because of that situation. That was also one of the heavier parts of the 200 pages for me. Randall Flagg wasn't really mentioned too much. He was mentioned in like Trash Can Man's story, and I don't think there was any mention of Lloyd actually. But yeah, he was mentioned a little bit in Trash Can Man's story. But again, part of the heavier reading and just the part that Stephen King wrote is when that situation with Trash Can Man and the kid, he was being raped, and I was just like, oh, this poor guy. And that wasn't the first time that happened to him apparently. I guess that happened to him growing up, so I did feel really bad for him, but he is still a bad guy. I do want to see a little bit more of Randall Flagg and kind of his side of the group in the next chapter. I felt like this part focused a lot on Mother Abigail, and it wasn't boring, but I was hoping to see a little bit more about like even Larry. I don't really like Larry, but I do think that his chapters are really interesting. I hope that he does make a 180 since he is with Nadine, I think her name is, and that little boy. I do hope that, you know, maybe they become kind of like a family unit. I don't really know what's going on why she's kind of obsessed with him either. I think that's a little, I don't know. I think that's a little weird. So I do hope that there is some clarification on that. But I actually really liked the chapters with Larry this time and Nadine and the boy. I thought it was so cute how, like, the boy kind of lit up, you know, when Larry was playing the guitar for him, and how that was kind of like their way of, you know, bonding and getting back and, you know, each other's good graces. I thought that was really cute. So I do hope that in the next, you know, 200 pages it does get a little bit lighter with the reading. It probably won't happen, but I do hope that, you know, it gets a little bit lighter and that we see a little bit more of Fran and Stu's relationship, and maybe a little bit more information about her pregnancy, kind of, you know, if maybe they're gonna try and find a place to settle down. Maybe hopefully like a doctor joins the group or something. I think that would be really cool. Again, I hope Harold dies. I don't want him to leave the group. I want him to die, because I feel like if he leaves, something's just gonna happen with the group. So yeah, I'll see you in 200 pages.
All right, so page 800. Holy crap! I'm running through this this book right now. It has been incredibly just fast paced, and I have loved. Okay. First, picking up back with Trash Can Man and the kid. I still did not enjoy that. Did not enjoy those. That was awful. But once that finished up, actually getting to see what's going on in Vegas, and it feels wrong to say Flag. You know, it's like I don't feel like I'm at the level where I can like call him Randall or Flag. I'm gonna say the Man in Black. The Man in Black, really getting everything together, has been just like so much fun to watch. I think it's been really, really cool seeing everything he's got going on there, and seeing Lloyd, you know, start to just be the right hand man. I think Trash Can Man is gonna be another little foil, and you know, just a little veer off veer off the path. Nadine Cross. Definitely going to be his dark woman to the dark man. So interesting there. But one of the things I've been loving is just watching the development of the free zone, Boulder Free Zone. That's it. And oh man, it's been so great watching the community come together. I wasn't wrong about wanting to see Harold die. I thought that was a little extreme when I said it last time. 100% I was right. I called it. Dude is unhinged, unstable, and incel to the max. Like, he is definitely going to be a problem, and actually he is a problem. Like, that mentality is so fucked. Like, I can't believe everything that's going on with that guy. Piece of shit. Stu has been amazing to watch grow and kind of just basically become like as they're just now putting forth the law of the town. I think that's going to be really, really neat. Nick, still my favorite, still loving everything come together with him and seeing all his development and seeing others kind of like also acknowledge how smart and bright he is. God, that's just it. That's been really, really cool, and I think they're perfectly slowly setting things up. I have such an issue with them sending Tom Cullen over as one of the spies. That really rubs me wrong. Because, like, yeah, even if he doesn't get killed, even if he doesn't get caught, like, he's still a man with a child's mind. And sending him to, like, the horrors of what they're doing over there, like, they're probably doing some really gross, messed up shit. I mean, hell, right off the bat, they're crucifying people. And he shouldn't have to be, like, exposed to that in his face like that without somebody to, like, be there for him. I think that's really, really wrong. That sucks. I think I'm 100% against that. That's fucked. MOON spells fucked. Also, little stuff fun side note. In my D&D game right now, basically my players just met a giant named Glam Glam. I say D&D. We're playing Dragonbane, but we just say D&D because it's easiest for people. But ran into a giant named Glam Glam that I 100% modeled after Tom Cullen, and he says Mist, and then, that spells whatever, because they're in the Misty Vale. It's fun, it's dumb, oh gods, yes, it's fun. And so, yeah, I think I would not send him over. I think that's really messed up. I really hope they revise that and don't send Tom, because that shit sucks. But I think this 200 was really, really great to see the establishment and like seeing everyone come together, and you could just see the organization and the next step that's coming. And the next step is battle, dude. They are setting up. They're gonna get through this the winter, and then I guarantee come summer, come the melting of the snow in the mountains, come down riding a flag, and he's gonna have himself a time. And it is ramping up so quickly. The fact that boom, there's only about 354 pages left. Dude, this is game on, man. That's the size of the next book we basically got to read. The Green Eyes of a Green Dragon. No, it's just Eyes of a Dragon. It's just Eyes of a Dragon. There's no green dragon in. But yeah, that book's only like 384. So now we just have the book left. We're there, baby. I keep looking at the screen popped out because I got the new camera, and so like this, I can flip the screen out to the side and see what it's recording. And I realize now, wildly distracting. Instead of looking at the camera, I'm looking over here at the. I'm an idiot. Okay, but yeah, no, I'm really, really excited for what comes next. I can't wait. I don't think Harold's gonna get discovered, which sucks. Like, I think he's going to do something really, really slimy, and it's going to piss me off, and I really hope they shoot this Payday bitch, like, so hard in the face. Yeah. I mean, I really...
All right, hurry up. Come on, it's time to film.
Yeah. I'm coming. Sorry. It's a shooting day, so... But, yes, definitely excited to crush down this next. We'll see you... page 1000 at our next 200 check-in, and then it's just a quick race to the end, baby. All right, I'm excited. I can't wait to see what goes next. Nick's still my favorite. He's the best. He's the bomb. Go. Okay, so I'm having a little interjection here. I know we don't do this outside the 200 thing, but I had one really quick thought as I continued reading the past page 800. And their little plan with Tom. What if they send him? Well, they're going to send him. What if Randall Flagg uses the code phrase to put him under and has like some secret hypnosis to where Tom does something just awful and they're not expecting it because it's Tom? Like, it was just a quick thought. I don't like it. I didn't like the whole sending Tom at all, anyways. And now, like, if Flagg just says the whole elephant line and has Tom under his hypnosis to be able to do anything he wants. Dude, that sucks. Like, that sucks, and I think that could be really, really devastating. Like, and if Tom does something just really, really bad that Tom, like, is going to mess with Tom, like, this sucks. M-O-O-N, this spells this sucks. Everybody knows that. Okay, I'll check back in. Bye.
So between pages 600 800, there's been a lot of like societal development. They've established a few different kinds of committees, leadership roles, deciding, laws, and they sang the national anthem, and that actually got really emotional for them. And I thought that was a really cool moment, honestly, because if you just sit down and think about it, like, pretty much everyone and everything they knew has died and wiped off the face of the earth. They've gone through so much trauma and, rebuilding society. And then, a lot of them have been traveling alone by themselves in small groups, thinking that like they're one of the only groups. They don't know how many people are left, if it's, affected places outside the United States. They really don't know anything. And then to be drawn to this place where I think there's like 600 people or 800 people, that are by you, it gives them a lot of hope. And, that part got pretty emotional. That was a really good writing on Stephen's behalf. Nadine and Harold. Well, let's get back to how that got there. Larry. Well, as y'all remember, I did not like Larry. His chapters were really I just didn't like him. He could have died and I wouldn't have cared. But now, Larry's actually one of my favorite characters. I never thought I would say that, but no, he really is. I was very proud of him when he refused Nadine's advances, and she was very forward. And he went home to Lucy, and I was just so proud of him. That was a big step for him, and you can tell that he's actively trying to be better than the man that he's been. And as obviously it's a struggle for him, but I do like the fact that he didn't just flip a switch and all of a sudden he's a good guy when the world happened. I do like seeing his struggles and his thought process during it. Stu and Franny, I am hoping, or maybe it was already discussed, I hope that within those 600 to 800 people there, that somebody is a doctor, a nurse, an EMT, paramedic, someone that can help Fran have that baby. Because, you never know what's going to happen during labor. She might be able to have it naturally. There might be complications, or she might need a C-section. You don't know. And I'm going to be very upset if Franny and or the baby dies. But again, leads to the question of if the baby's going to be able to even survive the birth, because we don't know if that baby's immune yet or not. So anyways, Harold is becoming more and more unhinged. The fact that he is practicing smiling in the mirror is really weird. And it's interesting to note that a lot of other characters are starting to kind of question him a little bit and just notice those little things about just how the smile doesn't meet his eyes, or he's just smiling way too much, or smiling at just things that somebody else wouldn't normally smile about. I was hoping that maybe he wouldn't be such a scumbag, but he actually really is. So again, I would be okay if he died, but I do want to see if him and Nadine do have sex, because I thought that Nadine was saving herself for, well, I'm going to assume Randall at this point. Yeah, I thought she was saving herself for Randall. So I don't know why she's all of a sudden trying to, jump somebody's bones. But I really am excited to see what happens with that, because especially with the way that Harold has been described in previous chapters, and the way that Nadine has been described, Nadine sounds, she's just one of the most gorgeous women out there, and just so beautiful. And not to mention older than Harold. I thought that Harold just finished high school or something. I don't think Harold's older than 20. And Nadine is I'm assuming probably in her 40s. So that's... Harold's legal, but I still feel like that's just borderline pedophile, honestly. I don't care if it's legal. If it ends in a teen, 18, 19, and you are 40, leave it alone. So yeah, that'll be a little weird if that actually does happen, but I still want to see if it happens anyways. As far as also Mother Abigail, I think it's really dumb that she left, and the reason that she left was because of her pride, and then the fact that they spent so much time trying to find her. This lady is super old. She is going out into the wild. I don't even think she took supplies with her, to be honest. And she is praying to God for what? For what? I just don't get it. I thought that whole part was really stupid. Actually really boring to read, and I just don't like it. Randall's side, I think it is interesting to see how these characters are starting to kind of come together on their end. Although I do hope that there is a little bit more about their side in the next few hundred pages, because right now it's all pretty much been towards, the Boulder Free Zone and what they're doing. So it would be interesting to see kind of a contrast on his side, to see how they're doing things, if they're, are focusing more on war and technology, and what are they focusing on over there, because we know that there's about to be some sort of showdown, and the Boulder Free Zone people don't really seem to be, they seem to be trying to rebuild society more than preparing for whatever battle is going to happen. So I do think that out of those 600 to 800 people, they really need to start seeing who does what, because they need to put all the resources that they can, in my opinion, into, establishing some sort of like military fighting force, making like, finding guns and grenades and bombs and, stuff like that. Because, that man's going to come in with some heavy shit. So they need to be ready. So they really do need like a war committee next. So all these little committees that they're making, they need to make a war committee next, because they're slacking on that part, and I feel like Randall's just gonna decimate them at this point unless there's some drastic measures coming on. So, but yeah, overall, for pages 600, 800, really good. I do hope to see a little bit more about Stu and Fran. Also, I want to know if Harold is going to know that it was Franny that broke into his house. And if he does find out, like, is that gonna be like his snapping point, and then that's what's gonna cause him to kill her? Is he gonna kill her? What's gonna happen with him and Nadine? I don't know. I'm excited. So we'll see you guys in another 200 pages.
Okay, so I know it's not page 1000, it's actually page 900, and fuck this book. The wind has completely been taken out of my sails. I'm literally just not even having a good time anymore. Like, once Nick's pointless death was probably the most infuriating thing I've ever had to read. Like, it was stupid, it was pointless, it led to nothing. Like, the fact that, like, they found out Harold's stuff, like, the day he was still doing his shit, or like the day before he was still doing his shit. It sucks. It was really dumb, and it just all felt pointless, and like, it's like almost just 900 pages of bullshit getting to know this character for no good goddamn reason. Like, honestly, he made some like leadership choices, but it wasn't that impactful to the story. I thought there was going to be some lead up where he was going to have more of a fucking actual purpose in this fucking story. But no, I think that was one of the most infuriating things I've ever had to read. Took the most well-written character and took him out meaninglessly. So, yeah, I don't enjoy this book anymore. Easily went to one of my least favorite books I've ever had to read. And the last 200 pages, I can tell, is just going to be a slog, because I don't really care about this book. All right, hey, Heidi Ho, we're back. Page 1000. Last we spoke, I was a little aggressive. This video is being taken literally 12 hours later. Throughout the day, mainly when the kids napped, I crushed a bunch of the pages, and then I just did the last 13 of them to get to page 1000. I came out a little aggressive right out the gate. Page 900, I admit this. I am still heavily upset with this book. I'm still heavily upset with you. I'm going to keep my cool. What I've decided to do with this book is, I still feel most of this book, for me, fuck it. Wasted my time, damn it. I hate it. I hate that part still so much. But my new outlook on this is I had to remind myself why I was going into this book. And, it wasn't even me who reminded myself. The book reminded me. As the majority of these pages of 900 to page 1000 actually reminded me of why I'm reading The Stand before The Dark Tower. Why I'm reading Eyes of the Dragon before The Dark Tower. That's because I wanted to see the origin and the evolution of the Man in Black, as I will come to know him on his journey to the Dark Tower. And I'm going to get there before that son of a bitch. You mark my words. A little bit more wind in the sails. But, man, I'm still... Same points as last time with the Nick thing. That sucked. Like, absolutely pointless. Before all that, I guess, you know, it was pretty cool to see everything evolve slowly. I guess he went for the good fun misdirection. I still feel like it was a waste of the best written character in the book. That being said, I am no longer going to get attached to the side stuff, the story content, the lore of Randall Flagg, because that's what I'm here for. Is I'm here to see how he gets it up and coming, and everyone else is not what I'm here for. So I need to not get attached to people like Nick and who's ever in the next one. This would be really tough for me in the next one because I love medieval fantasy. I mean, I have a whole one of our sessions on my gaming channel. Huge fan of medieval fantasy. So I am actually really looking forward to this next one. I am hoping it's going to be a nice kind of change of pace as well. Maybe not too dark. People who've read this might be just fucking laughing at me like they've been laughing at me this entire video as I've been talking about how fucking Nick is my favorite. Fuck all you guys for not even giving me a heads up throughout this video. The fuck, man? Like I said what, like five times how I love Nick, and all my like predictions for Nick. None of you guys could have been like, hey, chill, buddy, he's dead. Why didn't y'all give me a heads up? I've gone off the rails again there. It's still raw. I'm really upset. I haven't even talked about, okay, so Trash Can Man. I think he's going to be just fine. I don't really think Randall Flagg is going to care that he like disposed of a couple guys. I think he probably has more value in the Trash Can Man than he does in the few fuel boys doing the maintenance or whatever the fuck. Maybe they were pilots, and they are a little bit important. So they are important. He might be a little upset, but I don't think he'll be too chaffed. The stuff with Nadine evolving, that was kind of crazy. I didn't feel bad for Harold at all. I'm really glad. I didn't even care that he started to regret what he did. Fuck him. Fuck that little bitch. I wish he would have died sooner. I said it. As soon as I said I can't wait for him to die, he should have died that night. The night he wanted Fran dead, and he knew she was pregnant and all that. Gone. New world, hang him. That's when he should have been gone. Nick would be here. It was a pointless death. I really don't know what the fuck the four are gonna do. Stu, Glenn. That sounded weird coming out. Stu, Glenn, fucking Larry, and Ralph. Ralph Bretner. I don't know why CB Man always escapes me. But I mean, man, I really wish it would have been Nick in that group instead of I subbed him out for any one of those four. Glenn. I wish Glenn would have died, but I guess Stephen King knew we wouldn't have fucking cared. Like, I'm making a prediction that it's actually probably going to be Glenn that dies on the way to Vegas. She says that one of them doesn't make it. I'm thinking it's going to be Glenn because now that I think about it, Stephen King, when he was talking about Kojak, he said Kojak would actually outlive Glenn by many years. I realize Glenn's already older, but I just feel like he's going to be the one that dies on the way over. Ralph probably going to die in Vegas. I think it's going to be Larry and Stu. Larry is going to selflessly get himself into the point where he gets killed, but setting up the, I don't know. I'm making wild predictions here at this point, but setting up Stu, and then Stu will do something badass. But honestly, fuck it, burn them all. I don't care if this world blows up. I don't care if they win. I predict that they will actually lose. I think Randall Flagg is going to make a mess of all of them, beat their ass. Well, I guess the reason he might leave is because he's retreating. I don't know, but maybe he wins and then discovers a way to another fucking another world. But then again, it might be one of his powers that accidentally trigger, and as he's about to be killed, he disappears and shows up in the medieval Eyes of the Dragon, and then after that starts making trouble and discovers that there's a multiverse, and then discovers there's the center of the multiverse, and that it's the Dark Tower, and that there's protectors of it, and then he starts hunting them down and makes a big mess for Roland. And like, that's the gist of what I think is, how I know, like, that's the basis of the Dark Tower, is that he's trying to get the Dark Tower, the gunslingers protect the Dark Tower, and he kills gunslingers. That's about this extent of the lore I have. I don't know characters. That's the story I know. And I'm assuming this is just that was my prediction if I would get there. Stupid. I'm just gonna crush through these last 150. I just realized I was holding it like this, like my microphone. Man. So yes, I'm gonna crush through this one. 153 pages left. I'm gonna try to get the majority of them done tonight, and then tomorrow morning, while everyone's sleeping. All right. Well, we'll see you in 153 page. Oh yeah, Tom got away. I figure, at least there's that, and he didn't have to see any atrocities. So at least there's a plus side on that end. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm ready. I'm ready for the end. I've cooled off a little bit on my hate towards the book. I was a little angered there for a lot of time, but we're coming back down. We're thinking rationally. We're remembering. We were never here for Nick. We were always here for the Man in Black, the Randall Flagg. So we are ready to finish his origin story. Let's get to it. Let's get that wrap up coming towards you. You bitch.
I want to say that I really enjoyed pages 800 to 1000, but honestly, they were a drag. I am so sick and tired of hearing about committee this, committee that, this committee, reading, chapters of, committees talking in this room and that room, talking about this and that, and then only one paragraph of how this committee is even, involved in the storyline. And why are we focusing so much on Mother Abigail's disappearance? Why do we need to bring it up constantly and just focus so much on her disappearing just for her to come back, say a couple words, and die? Stupid. Yeah, I really just didn't like this section of the book, to be honest. I was really hoping that they put a little bit more emphasis on Randall's side of things. But when they did, I think that his side of the world is, aside from him being evil, I think that his side of the world is a lot better than theirs. I mean, this man, they have children. Their children are in school already. Their children are learning. They have, committees that actually make sense to have, like those that are cleaning up the streets and repairing the light bulbs. And, they seem happy, and they seem like they actually have, lawfulness. People are happy. There's not, a bunch of drug addicts and alcoholics and, people throwing stones at windows and tearing everything up and no one doing anything about it because, they don't know what to do. There is law and order. People, for the most part, seem pretty happy until people start mentioning Randall. But aside from Randall, I mean, I like the Randall side of the world better. I mean, they are they get their electricity going. They are utilizing their people correctly to get, civilization kind of back to a sense of normalcy. Some of his rules make sense. He doesn't want drug addicts. That makes sense. He doesn't want alcoholics. Again, makes sense. So yeah, I really do honestly hope that the next 200 pages focuses more on Randall's side of things and less on committee talks. If I hear more about committee this, committee that, I don't even know if I just want to finish this dang book because I'm so sick of hearing about these committees and all these long drawn out midnight conversations about all this stuff that doesn't even seem to be affecting the story whatsoever. So that's my 2 cents.
All right, and that was it. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It was a bit of a long one. There was a lot going on in there, and we had a lot to talk about. And every time we thought we didn't have a whole lot to talk about, there ended up was a lot to talk about. But if you enjoyed it, thank you all so much. Be sure to tune out for the next one, Eyes of the Dragon, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be amazing, and a lot shorter. So be sure to tune in next time. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye.